This nibble originally aired on RSBANDB Update, episode 808 and a half. Enjoy. But Jagex's 2019 financials have finally been published. And I don't think there's much to say in here, because these aren't going to be the interesting ones, because we dealt with the company sale this year, and the really interesting ones are going to be the 2020 ones to see how the sales reported. So we'll probably get those at some point next year. But, you know, I think the thing that we got to take away from the 2019 report is that RuneScape 3 revenue remained constant. It actually went down slightly because of the tapering off of microtransactions, which they admit in the report here was done to garner player sentiment.
I mean, I think it's wise, right? I think maximizing profit right now, why just pushing microtransactions down players' throats is very short-sighted.
Yep.
So, yeah, very nice.
Yeah, and, you know, what I have to say with this is that, you know, you have, yet again, a revenue of £110 million and a net profit of £46 million. The staffing increased from 337 to 377 employees. And, you know, the thing to take away from this at the end of the year, if you're a RuneScape 3 player and you didn't like microtransactions, is that you've won. Jagex has heard you in that microtransactions have been tapered back to a point where revenues have gone down a bit.
Me closing the Treasure Hunter pop-up button every day has worked. Me destroying all my Treasure Hunter keys has worked. Victory! Woo!
But I don't think those ones are counted because they're not purchased.
Oh, okay.
But you can call it a victory if you'd like.
I don't want to give them hope, because they will stop at nothing short of no microtransaction ever. And
I am totally okay with microtransactions to some extent, but yeah, if a game like RuneScape, where the primary gameplay is progression and the microtransactions let you buy progression, that just breaks the game. So those microtransactions need to go. But I'm completely fine with cosmetics.
I think Tannis wants to have a word with you about oddments. But perhaps not this episode.
Yeah.
Well, I just have a different view. Like, I think that's why I think bonus is acceptable and lamps aren't. So that's my distinction, because you're not cutting content out. You're making it convenient.
You're making the content shorter. You go to it twice as fast. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I personally, like you, Sirion, don't have much of a problem with microtransactions. It depends on their format. But I will say out there to our listeners who do have concerns with microtransactions, and we heard this in our last round table, is that it actually feels better this year than it did in the past. But I'll just say this to everybody out there. You know, treat this as a victory and think of where you want to go further from this. I don't think the next logical step, if I would be an anti-microtransaction person, would be for the lobbying of all removal of microtransaction. I'd lobby for further evolution of it, and, you know, I'd take it in a gradual way. And I don't know that there's anybody out there who's actually leading that charge in a clear and concise way. You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.